Go back into it. Look, my next guest was scheduled in advance, as they always are, right? He lives in Los Angeles, does Joel Gilbert. He's the director of The Climate According to Al Gore. He's a documentary filmmaker based in Los Angeles. But guess what? He can't get hooked up with us because of the fires in Los Angeles today. He is able to join us by telephone, and boy, do we need to hear what's going on. Joel, thank you for being here. Joel Gilbert, are you there?
He was there.
All right, Brock, work that for me because, look, what I know is this. Joel Gilbert is in Los Angeles. There are half a dozen different fires burning. Pacific Palisades is on fire. Malibu looks like a third world country. Malibu looks like it got firebombed, all right? Because it kind of did. The sand castles of Malibu, these big giant homes that were along the coast, many of them are gone today. And we had Joel Gilbert, excuse me, there, in Los Angeles. We've lost the connection, and I don't know why. Look, there are big fires there all over. Working to reconnect that phone line. The winds were 80 miles an hour. 80-mile-an-hour winds driving these fires, which began only about 10 o'clock yesterday morning, my understanding. And within a few hours, they're out of control. And when the firemen went to the fire hydrants, there was no water in them. No water in the fire hydrant. What good is a fire hydrant? You drive down the street, you look at a fire hydrant in front of your house, well, if I ever have a fire, I'm in pretty good shape, I guess. No. You're not.
He's back on hold on the landline.
All right, bring him on in. Joel Gilbert, welcome to the program.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. It's, very windy, a lot of fires, and I'm here in California, so we're going to do this interview by phone instead of on eCam, so I'm happy to be here.
Well, I understand. Look, what can you tell us? What can you see? What can you tell us being on the ground there in L.A.?
Well, it's just been constant high winds for about 12 hours. There's a lot of smoke in the air. I'm up in Ventura County, so normally we get the fires and heavier winds here, but for some reason it's really worse down in Malibu and Pacific Palisades. So we're just hoping the wind will die down and things get back to normal. They usually do at some point.
Yeah, what the video that I'm seeing though, and if you're cut off technologically speaking, I mean the videos we're seeing out of Malibu, the sand castles, if you will, they're gone. Hundreds of homes. James Woods, obviously a guy who's on Twitter a lot, his house gone. His whole neighborhood gone. These are multi-million-dollar homes. I mean, this is a devastating fire.
Well, it's almost only 5 in the morning here, and I've had no electricity for about 10 hours, so I haven't really seen the news. I'm just kind of looking on Twitter a little bit, and probably you know more than me because I don't have television. There's no electricity to watch it, so I'm just learning as we speak what's happening, but it's definitely probably one of the worst ones we've had in a long time.
Yeah, terrible fire. You have had fires like this in the past. Now, what's going to happen is those in certain circles are going to scream climate change, but here's what I do know, and I can tell you this, Joel, from several accounts that we have shared with the people this morning. The firefighters went to the fire hydrants. There was no water. There's no water in the fire hydrants. How are you going to fight a fire? There's no water. There's no planning. And the fuel that's on the ground, the deadfalls, the brush, the dead trees have built up, I'm told, for 40 years. Have not been, reduced at all. They had piles of fuel and no water to put out a fire. Sounds like a recipe for disaster.
They have not had any forest management in California for many years. So whenever there's a fire, a lot of rain, a lot of bad things happen. And we have, Al Gore, who I made the movie about, The Climate According to AI Al Gore. Al Gore to this day still goes to these climate conferences, even though every prediction he's made since 1992 has fallen on its face about a hole in the ozone layer. We've got 10 years to live. There's a climate catastrophe. The polar ice caps are melting. Every single prediction he made was turned out to be false. But to this day, he still goes to these climate conferences and he screams. He says, it was 110 degrees in Las Vegas in July. There was a hurricane in September in the Gulf of Mexico, as if this regular kind of weather events are somehow represent this whole climate panic narrative. And of course, their solution is more central planning and wealth redistribution. It's really the same old scam that they're trying to impose on people that no one would ever vote for.
Right, no one would ever vote for it. Any educated person would never believe. So they're going to scream climate change about this, but as you told me, and I knew, there's been no forest management in California for 50 years. The same thing happened in Yellowstone National
Park. They haven't done anything. It has to do with this whole, green agenda. They're into other things. It's just very badly mismanaged here.
Clearly.
And, smarter planning and management would mitigate any of these things like fires or floods or mudslides, you name it, because it is a desert climate here for the most part, especially near the coast.
Right.
So when we do get a little water or wind, you get extreme events like this, but it has nothing to do with the climate.
No. Yellowstone National Park in 1989 burned like this. It's because they also let fuel pile up. It's bad management leads to bad results. That's a fact. Here's what I want to do, Joel. Sometime when you are back in connection, or maybe even tomorrow, I'd like to have you back just to give us an assessment of what's going on there once the sun comes up and you're back connected a little bit more, because it is a devastating fire, regardless of the cause. And I believe it's bad policy. It's a bad governor. It's a bad mayor. It's a bad policy of green do-gooders. And we'll get you back on if that's okay with you, sir. Thank you for being here.
Sure. Okay. Thanks so much.
Really appreciate it. Joel Gilbert. Cut off from the world, no power. He's not in the direct line of the fire, but look, it's not climate change. It's idiots in charge. How do you go to the fire hydrant and there's no water? How does that happen? Nice job, California. Really well done. Climate change my ass. I'll be back.